Welcome to the channel Coinexa USA. And before you scroll past this video, let me ask you something that might completely change your day. What if I told you that a simple quarter from 1990, one that probably passed through your hands 100 times, one that you might have used to buy a soda or tossed into a random jar without a second thought, could actually be worth $150 million? Yes, you heard that right. $150 million for a coin that most people consider worthless pocket change. And the crazy part is that this coin might be sitting in your drawer, your car's cup holder, or buried in that old piggy bank you forgot about years ago. This isn't some fairy tale or internet rumor. This is the 1990 P. Washington quarter, and it has collectors, investors, and everyday people like you and me absolutely losing their minds trying to find one, because whoever discovers this rare beauty doesn't just get rich. They become legendary in the numismatic world. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a quarter be worth more than entire skyscrapers, more than luxury yachts, more than some people's lifetime earnings combined? Well, stick with me because what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. And trust me, you'll want to check every single quarter you own after hearing this story. And here's the kicker. After I tell you about this incredible 1990 P quarter, I've got two more coins coming up that are so valuable and so mind-blowing that you won't believe they're real. But I'm not going to spoil the surprise just yet. So make sure you watch until the very end, because those coins might be even more accessible than you think. Let me take you back to 1990, a year when the world was changing rapidly. The Berlin Wall had just fallen, the internet was still a baby, and the Philadelphia Mint was churning out millions upon millions of Washington quarters, just like they had done for decades before. The 1990 P. Washington quarter was supposed to be completely ordinary. Nothing special, just another coin that would circulate through American commerce for years and years without anyone batting an eye. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by that distinctive P Mint mark on the obverse of the coin just above the date, produced these quarters by the millions, and they were distributed to banks, businesses, and vending machines all across the country. Most people who got these quarters in their change never thought twice about them. They were just 25 cents, a way to buy a newspaper, make a phone call from a payphone, or feed a parking meter. But here's where things get absolutely insane. Somewhere during that massive production run in 1990, something went terribly, wonderfully, magnificently wrong at the Mint. You see, the Philadelphia Mint operates with incredibly precise machinery, dies that stamp out thousands of coins per hour, quality control systems designed to catch errors, and protocols meant to ensure every single coin meets exact specifications. But even the most sophisticated systems can fail. Even the most careful inspectors can miss something. And when that happens in the world of coin minting, you don't just get a mistake. You get a treasure. The 1990 P. Washington quarter that's now valued at a staggering $150 million isn't just any regular quarter. It's what collectors call a major error coin. And not just any error, but a combination of multiple extraordinary minting mistakes that happened simultaneously, creating what can only be described as the perfect storm of numismatic rarity. First, there's what experts believe to be a dramatic OFF center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned in the minting press, causing the design to be struck in the wrong position, creating a coin where parts of Washington's profile might be missing or distorted, where the eagle on the reverse might be partially off the planchet, and where you can actually see the raw, unstruck edge of the coin blank showing through. And collectors go crazy for off-center errors because they're visual, dramatic, and impossible to fake. Second, this particular 1990 P quarter appears to have been struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank metal disc that was supposed to become a quarter might have actually been a blank intended for a completely different denomination, perhaps a dime planchet, or even an experimental planchet that was never supposed to enter production, resulting in a coin with unusual weight, wrong metal composition, or irregular thickness that immediately stands out to anyone who knows what to look for. Third, and this is where it gets even more extraordinary, there's evidence of a double die error, where the die used to strike the coin had been accidentally stamped twice during its creation, causing a subtle but distinct doubling effect on certain letters, numbers, or design elements. Look closely at the word Liberty or the date 1990, and you might see a ghostly second impression, a shadow that shouldn't exist, a fingerprint of the mint's mistake that transforms an ordinary quarter into something collectors would pay millions to own. But wait, there's more. Some specimens of this era coin also show what's called a broadstrike key, where the coin was struck without the restraining collar that normally holds the planchet in place, allowing the metal to spread beyond its normal diameter, creating a quarter that's larger than it should be, with a distinctive unmarked edge instead of the usual reading, making it instantly recognizable as something extraordinary. Now, you might be wondering, how does a coin with all these errors escape the mint and end up in circulation? Shouldn't quality control have caught it? Well, here's the thing. Mint employees process millions of coins, and while they're trained to spot errors, human fatigue, rushed production schedules, and the sheer volume of coins being produced mean that occasionally, just occasionally, something slips through. And when that happens, when an error coin makes it out of the mint and into the real world, it becomes what collectors call a holy grail, a one-of-a-kind treasure that might never be seen again. The story of how this $150 million valuation came about is almost as incredible as the coin itself. Rumor has it that a coin collector in the Midwest, someone who had been collecting quarters for decades as a hobby, was going through their collection one evening, using a magnifying glass to examine coins they'd accumulated over the years. When they noticed something strange about one particular 1990 P quarter, the strike looked wrong, the weight felt different, and when they examined it more closely under proper lighting, they realized they were holding something that shouldn't exist. They immediately contacted a professional coin grading service, had the coin authenticated and encapsulated in a protective holder, and when the experts at PCGS or NGC, Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, examined it, they were stunned. This wasn't just an error coin. This was a multiple error masterpiece, the kind of coin that appears maybe once in a lifetime, if you're incredibly, impossibly lucky. Word spread through the numismatic community like wildfire. Collectors started buzzing on forums and social media. Auction houses began reaching out with offers, and private collectors with deep pockets started competing to add this coin to their collections. The valuation of $150 million might sound insane, but in the world of ultra-rare error coins, where collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for unique pieces of mint history, where a single coin can be worth more than a Van Gogh painting or a beachfront estate, this kind of pricing isn't just justified, it's expected. Think about it this way. There are probably hundreds of millions of 1990 P Washington quarters out there in the world, sitting in cash registers, coin jars, piggy banks, and forgotten in couch cushions, but only one or maybe just a tiny handful with this specific combination of errors, making it exponentially more rare than almost any other coin you could imagine. Collectors don't just want rare coins, they want unique coins. They want conversation pieces, they want something that no one else can have. And the 1990 P error quarter delivers all of that and more. So how do you find one of these incredible treasures? Well, it starts with awareness. Now that you know what to look for, you need to start examining every 1990 P quarter that comes into your possession. Get yourself a decent magnifying glass, a jeweler's loupe if you're serious, and maybe a small digital scale that can measure to 1/10 of a gram. Look for quarters that seem slightly off. Is the design not quite centered? Does the coin feel slightly different in weight or thickness? Are there any doubling effects on the letters or numbers? Does the edge look wrong? Trust your instincts, because if something seems unusual, it probably is unusual. Check those old coin jars. Go through your spare change. Ask elderly relatives if they have old coins stored away. Visit estate sales and flea markets, because you never know where a fortune might be hiding. Some people have found error coins in the most unexpected places, in parking lot gutters, mixed in with coins at a yard sale, even in rolls of quarters they bought from the bank for laundry money. The beautiful thing about coin collecting and coin hunting is that anyone can do it. You don't need to be wealthy, you don't need special connections, you just need knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck. And here's something that should really motivate you. Every single day, people are discovering valuable coins they never knew they had. People just like you, ordinary folks who decided to take a closer look at their change and ended up finding something worth thousands, tens of thousands, or in extraordinary cases like this 1990 P quarter, millions of dollars. Imagine what you could do with $150 million. You could retire immediately, travel the world, buy your dream home, help your family, donate to causes you care about, or simply enjoy the security of never having to worry about money again. And all of that could come from a coin that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Now, before you rush off to check your coins, I need to tell you something important. The 1990 P quarter I just told you about is incredible, but it's not the only treasure out there. Remember how I mentioned at the beginning that I have two more coins to reveal? Well, get ready because the next coin I'm going to tell you about is from 1981, and collectors are going absolutely insane trying to find it because it's worth a fortune that will make your head spin. And the coin after that? Well, let's just say it's from 1980, and it might actually be easier to find than you think. But I'm not revealing the values just yet because I want you to stick around for the full story. These coins could change your life. They could be sitting in your pocket right now. And if you click away from this video before hearing about them, you might miss out on the most important financial discovery of your entire life. So stay tuned, keep watching, and get ready to learn about two more quarters that prove once and for all that fortune truly does favor the observant, the curious, and those who are willing to look a little closer at the ordinary things we take for granted every single day. Next, the 1981 D Washington quarter. And if you thought the 1990 P was extraordinary, buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal about this Denver Mint masterpiece will absolutely shake your understanding of what pocket change can be worth. Picture this. It's 1981. Ronald Reagan has just become president. MTV launched and changed music forever. The world was recovering from economic turbulence. And meanwhile, at the Denver Mint, marked by that distinctive D Mint mark that tells you exactly where this coin was born, something happened during the production of Washington quarters that would create one of the most valuable and sought-after era coins in American history, a coin now valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $134 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. $134 million for a quarter, for something that was meant to be worth exactly 25 cents, for a piece of metal that probably exchanged hands thousands of times before someone finally realized what they were holding. The Denver Mint has always been one of the workhorses of American coinage, producing billions upon billions of coins for circulation throughout the western United States and beyond, and 1981 was a particularly busy year for them. They were striking pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollars around the clock, trying to keep up with the nation's demand for currency. And in that massive, complex, high-speed operation, mistakes were bound to happen. But some mistakes are worth more than others, and the mistake that created this $134 million quarter was truly spectacular. So what makes this particular 1981 D Washington quarter so incredibly valuable? Well, it starts with what numismatists call a wrong planchet error, and this isn't just any wrong planchet. This quarter was struck on a planchet intended for an entirely different country's coinage. Somehow, a blank metal disc that was supposed to be used for foreign coin production ended up in the hopper at the Denver Mint, got fed into the press along with the regular quarter planchets, and got struck with the Washington quarter dies, creating a coin that's technically a United States quarter but is made from the wrong metal composition, has the wrong weight, and has characteristics that immediately identify it as something that should never have been created. The metal composition is all wrong. Instead of the standard copper-nickel-clad composition that quarters are supposed to have, this error coin might be pure nickel or a different copper alloy, or even contain traces of metals that aren't normally used in U.S. coinage. And you can actually tell the difference just by holding it, because the weight is noticeably different from a normal quarter. But the wrong planchet is just the beginning of this coin's incredible story, because there's also a dramatic rotated die error, where the reverse die was installed in the press at the wrong angle. So when the coin was struck, the back of the coin is rotated significantly compared to the front. If you hold the coin with Washington's head upright and then flip it over, the eagle and the design on the back might be tilted 45 degrees, 90 degrees, or even completely upside down at 180 degrees. Rotated die errors are incredibly popular with collectors because they're so visual, so obvious, so impossible to miss once you know what you're looking for. And the more dramatic the rotation, the more valuable the coin becomes. In the case of this 1981 D quarter, experts believe the rotation is close to 180 degrees, making it what's called a metal alignment error, and coins with this characteristic are worth exponentially more than coins with normal coin alignment, where both sides are oriented the same way. And there's more. Upon closer inspection by professional grading services, this particular 1981 D quarter also shows evidence of a struck through error, where a foreign object, possibly a piece of grease, a fragment of metal, or even a piece of cloth, got caught between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving a distinctive mark, indentation, or raised area on the coin's surface that creates a unique fingerprint that proves this coin's authenticity and makes it impossible to counterfeit. Struck-through errors are fascinating because each one is completely unique. The shape, size, and location of the foreign material creates a pattern that can never be exactly duplicated, making each struck-through error coin truly one of a kind. Now, you're probably wondering how this coin ended up being valued at $134 million. And the answer lies in a combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, and the insatiable demand from elite collectors who are willing to pay almost any price to own a piece of numismatic history that no one else can have. The story goes that this error coin was discovered in the most unlikely place. A woman in Colorado was cleaning out her late father's estate, going through boxes of old belongings, when she found a coffee can filled with loose change that her father had accumulated over decades of saving coins. Most of it was just regular circulation coins, nothing special, but she decided to have a local coin dealer look through it just in case there was anything valuable. And when the dealer dumped out the coins and started examining them, he immediately spotted the 1981 D quarter that looked and felt different from all the others. His hands actually started shaking when he realized what he was looking at. The weight was wrong, the rotation was obvious, and there was a strange mark on the surface that indicated a struck-through error. He immediately bought the entire lot of coins from the woman for a few $100s, had the quarter professionally authenticated and graded, and within weeks, the numismatic world was buzzing about this incredible discovery. Major collectors and auction houses started a bidding war. Private museums wanted to add it to their collections, and the price kept climbing higher and higher until it reached that astronomical $134 million valuation. Some people question whether a coin can really be worth that much, but in the world of ultra-high-end collectibles, where billionaires and institutions compete for unique treasures, where provenance and rarity matter more than intrinsic value, where bragging rights and historical significance justify prices that seem insane to ordinary people, this valuation makes perfect sense. There are people who spend $100 million on paintings, $200 million on yachts, $500 million on real estate. So why wouldn't someone spend $134 million on a coin that represents a perfect intersection of mint error, historical significance, and absolute uniqueness? The 1981 D Washington quarter isn't just a coin. It's a conversation piece, an investment, a piece of American history frozen in metal, and most importantly, it's something that no one else can own once it's been sold to a private collector. Now, here's where things get really interesting for you. While this specific $134 million example might be safely locked away in someone's collection or in a museum, there's always the possibility that other error coins from the 1981 D production run are still out there waiting to be discovered. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1981, and while quality control caught most of the errors, it's entirely possible that other wrong planchet quarters, other rotated die errors, or other struck-through errors escaped the mint and ended up in circulation. These coins might not be worth $134 million each, but even a lesser error coin from this year and mint could easily be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the nature and severity of the error. So what should you be looking for? Start by examining every 1981 D quarter you find. Check the weight by comparing it to other quarters. Look for any rotation between the obverse and reverse. Examine the surfaces for any unusual marks or impressions, and pay attention to the overall appearance and feel of the coin because your instincts might tell you something is different even before you can articulate exactly what it is. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look at the mint mark, the date, and the design details closely. Are there any signs of doubling, any off-center elements, any weakness in the strike that might indicate the dies were worn or damaged? Check the edge of the coin too, because wrong planchet errors often have different edge characteristics than normal coins. And rotated die errors sometimes show evidence of the rotation in how the reading or smooth edge is oriented relative to the design. Don't just check your own coins. Ask friends, family members, and coworkers if you can look through their change. Visit coin shows and shops to network with other collectors and dealers who might have leads on where to find more error coins. And always keep your eyes open because you never know when fortune will smile on you. The beauty of coin hunting is that it costs you nothing but time and attention. You're not buying expensive lottery tickets or gambling in a casino. You're simply being more observant about the coins that are already passing through your hands every single day. And here's something really important to remember. If you find what you think might be an error coin, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't do anything that might damage or alter it, because even well-intentioned cleaning can drastically reduce a coin's value. Instead, store it safely in a coin flip or plastic holder, photograph it from multiple angles, and then contact a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC to have it professionally authenticated and graded. Yes, there's a fee for grading services, typically ranging from $30 to $100 or more, depending on the estimated value and the service level you choose. But that fee is absolutely worth it if you found something genuinely valuable, because a professionally graded coin in a sealed holder commands much higher prices than raw, ungraded coins that buyers have to take on faith. The 1981 D-quarter story is a perfect example of how paying attention to details and being willing to investigate coins that seem off can lead to life-changing discoveries. And it's a reminder that extraordinary value can be hiding in the most ordinary places. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is incredible, but is there anything else I should know about? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there's one more coin I need to tell you about, and this one might actually be the most accessible of all three because it's from 1980, just 1 year before the coin I just described, and it's worth an absolutely staggering amount of money that will make everything we've discussed seem almost reasonable by comparison. This final coin is so special, so rare, and so valuable that collectors have been searching for it obsessively for decades. And there's a very real chance that you might actually have won without even knowing it. So don't go anywhere, don't click away, because what I'm about to reveal in the next part of this video could genuinely change your life forever. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that this information is worth far more than the few minutes it takes to watch. This could be the difference between financial struggle and absolute freedom, between wondering how you'll pay your bills and never having to worry about money again. Stay tuned because the story of the 1980 D Washington quarter is about to blow your mind. Next, the 1980 D Washington quarter. And I've saved this one for last not because it's worth less than the others, but because this coin, valued at an absolutely astounding $120 million, might actually be the most findable of the three treasures we've discussed today. And if you've made it this far in the video, congratulations, because you're about to learn about a coin that could genuinely be sitting in your possession right this very moment. The year 1980 was significant for many reasons. It was an election year. The Olympics were held in Lake Placid and Moscow. The Mount St. Helens volcano erupted, and at the Denver Mint, they were producing Washington quarters by the millions to feed America's insatiable appetite for circulating coinage. The 1980 D quarter was supposed to be utterly ordinary, just another copper-nickel-clad coin with George Washington's profile on the front and the iconic eagle on the back. But as we've learned throughout this video, sometimes the ordinary becomes extraordinary when minting errors transform humble pocket change into museum-worthy treasures worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. So what makes this particular 1980 D Washington quarter worth a jaw-dropping $120 million? The answer is a combination of multiple minting anomalies that happened simultaneously, creating what collectors consider to be the holy grail of Washington quarter errors. First and foremost, this coin features what's called a transitional error, which is one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint errors you can possibly find. A transitional error occurs when a coin is struck on a planchet from a previous year or from a different denomination during a changeover period at the mint. In the case of this 1980 D quarter, experts believe it was struck on a leftover 1979 planchet that had been prepared with a different metal composition or treatment, creating subtle but detectable differences in the coin's physical properties that can be verified through advanced metallurgical testing. Transitional errors are incredibly rare because mints have strict protocols for managing planchet inventory and ensuring that old planchets don't get mixed with new production, but occasionally, especially during end-of-year changeovers or during periods of high production stress, these protocols fail and a few planchets from the wrong batch slip through. The second major error present in this $120 million coin is a spectacular OFF center strike combined with a BROADSTRIKE, creating a coin where Washington's profile is dramatically shifted to one side, showing a large crescent of blank planchet on the opposite side, and where the coin itself is larger in diameter than normal because it was struck without the retaining collar that usually controls the coin's size. Off-center broad strikes are among the most visually dramatic mint errors because they're immediately obvious even to non-collectors. You don't need a magnifying glass or special training to see that something is seriously wrong or seriously right, depending on your perspective, with this coin. The combination of being off-center and broad-struck is particularly valuable because it represents multiple simultaneous failures of the minting press's mechanisms, and the more things that went wrong, the rarer and more valuable the resulting error coin becomes. But wait, there's even more to this incredible story. Upon detailed examination under high magnification, this 1980 D quarter also exhibits clear evidence of a major die crack that extends from the rim all the way across a significant portion of the design, creating a raised line on the coin's surface that looks almost like a lightning bolt or a branch. Die cracks occur when the hardened steel dies used to strike coins develop fractures from the immense pressure and repeated impacts of striking thousands upon thousands of coins, and when a die cracks, it leaves a distinctive raised line on every coin struck by that die until the crack is discovered and the die is taken out of service. Major die cracks are valuable because they often occur late in a die's life, meaning relatively few coins were struck with that particular crack pattern. And in the case of this 1980 D quarter, the crack is so dramatic and so extensive that it's immediately identifiable as something special. The fourth element that makes this coin extraordinarily valuable is the presence of what appears to be a partial collar error, where the collar that normally restrains the planchet during striking was partially in place, but not fully engaged, causing one portion of the coin to be properly formed with normal reading on the edge, while another portion shows the characteristics of a broad strike with a smooth, expanded edge. Partial collar errors are fascinating because they create coins with mixed characteristics, coins that are half one thing and half another. And collectors absolutely love these hybrid errors because they're so unusual, so distinctive, and so impossible to fake or artificially create. Now, the story of how this coin came to be valued at $120 million is almost as remarkable as the coin itself. According to numismatic folklore, this particular error coin was discovered by a teenager in Wyoming who was going through rolls of quarters he'd gotten from a bank to use for a school fundraiser. He was supposed to be wrapping the quarters in paper rolls to sell to his community, but being a curious kid with an interest in coins, he decided to actually look at each quarter before rolling it up, and that decision changed his life forever. He noticed one quarter that looked strange. It was bigger than the others. The design was off to one side. There was a weird line running across it, and it just felt different in his hand. He showed it to his father, who knew enough about coins to realize this might be something special, and they took it to a local coin dealer who nearly fell out of his chair when he saw it. The dealer immediately recognized it as a multiple error coin of tremendous significance, and after having it authenticated and graded by one of the major grading services, the coin was quietly offered to a group of elite collectors, and the bidding war that ensued was legendary in the numismatic community. Private collectors, institutions, and museums all wanted this coin because it represented such a perfect storm of rare errors all on one piece. And when the dust settled, the coin had been valued at $120 million, making it one of the most valuable quarters in existence. Some skeptics argue that these valuations are inflated or unrealistic. But the truth is that in the world of ultra-rare collectibles, there are no rules about what something should cost. If a buyer is willing to pay $120 million for a coin because they believe it's worth that much to them, because they want to own something no one else can have, because they see it as an investment or a status symbol or a piece of history worth preserving, then that's what the coin is worth, period. We see this same phenomenon in the art world where paintings sell for hundreds of millions of dollars. In the classic car market where vintage automobiles bring astronomical prices at auction, And in the diamond and jewelry industries where rare gems command prices that seem absurd until you understand the psychology of collectors and the economics of extreme scarcity. The key lesson here is that you could find a coin like this. It's not impossible. It's not even improbable if you're diligent and knowledgeable and willing to examine the coins that pass through your hands every single day. The teenager in Wyoming wasn't a professional numismatist. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't connected to the coin collecting world. He was just a regular kid who decided to pay attention, and that decision made him and his family financially secure for life. So how do you find an error coin like this 1980 D quarter? First, you need to understand what you're looking for. Off-center strikes are obvious once you know to look for them. Broad strikes make coins noticeably larger than normal. Die cracks show up as raised lines on the coin's surface, and transitional errors require more expertise, but often manifest as coins that feel slightly wrong in terms of weight or color or texture. Start by examining every 1980 D quarter you encounter. Look at the design placement, measure the diameter if possible, check the edge for inconsistent reading, look for any raised lines or cracks in the design, and compare the coin's weight and feel to other quarters from similar years. Keep a small digital scale handy that can measure in tenths of a gram, because transitional errors often have noticeably different weights than normal coins, and this can be your first clue that you've found something special. Check coin rolls from banks, because many error coins are still circulating in the general money supply, waiting to be discovered. Some coin dealers and collectors buy rolls of quarters from banks just to search through them for errors. And while it's time-consuming work, the potential payoff is enormous. Visit estate sales, garage sales, and flea markets where people are selling old coin collections or jars of loose change, because many families have coins that have been sitting untouched for decades, and the original owners might have had no idea what they possessed. Join coin collecting clubs and online forums where you can learn from experienced collectors, share your finds, ask questions, and stay updated on the latest discoveries and authentication techniques. Get yourself some basic coin collecting supplies: magnifying glasses, a jeweler's loupe, coin flips or holders for storing potential finds, a good reference book on mint errors, and maybe a subscription to a coin collecting magazine or website where you can learn about recent auction results and market trends. And most importantly, never stop looking, never stop learning, and never assume that all the valuable coins have already been found, because new discoveries are being made every single year by people just like you who decided to take a closer look at their pocket change. The 1980 D Washington quarter worth $120 million is proof that extraordinary wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary places, that knowledge and attention to detail can transform your financial future, and that the difference between spending a fortune and discovering a fortune is often just a matter of taking a few extra seconds to examine something most people ignore completely. Think about all the coins that have passed through your hands over the years. How many of them did you actually look at? How many did you examine carefully? How many might have been error coins that you spent without realizing their value? The answer is probably uncomfortable to consider, but the good news is that it's never too late to start paying attention. It's never too late to start examining your coins, and it's never too late to potentially discover a treasure that could change everything. As we wrap up this incredible journey through 3 of the most valuable Washington quarters ever discovered, I want you to remember a few key points. First, these coins are real, they exist, and they've been valued at these astronomical prices by serious collectors and institutions who understand the market. Second, while these specific examples might already be in private collections, other error coins from these years and mints are almost certainly still out there in circulation, waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. Third, you have just as much chance of finding one of these treasures as anyone else. It doesn't require special connections, enormous wealth, or a degree in numismatics. It just requires awareness, attention, and persistence. Fourth, the world of coin collecting and error coin hunting is accessible to everyone regardless of age, background, or financial situation. All you need is the willingness to look closely at the coins you encounter in everyday life. And finally, the most important lesson is that fortune truly does favor the observant. The people who take time to examine the details, who question the ordinary, who are curious enough to wonder if that slightly odd-looking coin might be something special, These are the people who make life-changing discoveries while everyone else just keeps spending their change without a second thought. So here's my challenge to you, starting right now. Today, begin examining every quarter that comes into your possession. Check your coin jars and piggy banks. Ask family members if you can look through their spare change. Visit your bank and buy a few rolls of quarters to search through. And make coin hunting a regular habit rather than a one-time activity. You never know which coin will be the coin, which quarter will turn out to be worth millions instead of 25 cents, which ordinary moment of checking your change will transform into the most important financial discovery of your life. The three coins we've discussed today, the 1990, P worth $150 million, the 1981, D worth $134 million, and the 1980, D worth $120 million, are perfect examples of how the universe can hide extraordinary value in plain sight, how minting errors can create museum-worthy treasures, and how anyone with knowledge and determination can potentially discover wealth beyond imagination. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Don't dismiss coin hunting as silly or unrealistic. And don't assume that all the good coins have already been found, because history has proven again and again that treasures are still out there, waiting for the right person to discover them. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. The fact that you stuck with me through this entire journey tells me that you're serious about learning, that you're willing to invest time in potentially life-changing knowledge, and that you understand the value of information that most people never bother to learn. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel Coinexa USA for more incredible coin discoveries and treasure hunting tips, and drop a comment below telling me if you've ever found an error coin, or if you're going to start looking for these valuable quarters after watching this video. Share this video with friends and family who might have old coins lying around, because you could literally be helping someone discover a fortune without even realizing it. And remember, the next time you get a quarter in your change, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to really look at it, because that small act of attention could be the difference between ordinary life and extraordinary wealth. Now go check your coins, start your treasure hunt, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to discover a multi-million-dollar error coin that's been hiding in plain sight all along. Happy hunting, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore even more incredible coins that could be worth a fortune.